The ring of my phone was a sharp, invasive sound in the hushed stillness of the doctor's waiting room. A dozen pairs of eyes, glazed with illness or worry, flickered towards me. I fumbled in my purse, my fingers closing around the cold device. The name on the screen, Angela, my daughter, brought a fleeting smile, quickly extinguished by the tone of her voice. It was not the warm, lively voice of my little girl. It was flat, transactional, almost metallic. "Mom, we're going on a trip to Europe tomorrow. I already sold your beach house and your car. We needed the money. Bye." The line went dead. Just like that. 45 years. 45 years of lullabies and skinned knees, of parent-teacher conferences and wedding plans, of sacrifices made with a joyful heart, all reduced to dust in a 30-second phone call. She had discarded me like yesterday's newspaper, without a shred of emotion, without even the courtesy of a pretense. A wave of nausea threatened to overwhelm me. The beach house, our sanctuary, Robert's truck, his pride and joy, the last place his scent still lingered. It was a violation so profound it felt like a physical blow. But then something remarkable happened. A deep, calming breath filled my lungs, and a slow, deliberate smile touched my lips. The other patients probably thought it was the smile of senility, of a confused old woman. They couldn't know it was the smile of a woman who had just remembered she was holding the winning card in a game her opponent didn't even know they were playing. My name is Antonia Brooks. I am 71 years old, and until that moment, I believed I knew my only child. The grief had been my constant companion for 6 months. My Robert, my anchor for 45 years, was gone. A heart attack, swift and silent, had taken him as we shared our morning coffee. One moment he was kissing my forehead, his standard, "Good morning, my love," hanging in the air between us. The next he was gone, leaving a silence so vast it swallowed me whole. In the bleak aftermath, Angela had been present, or so I'd thought. She visited 3 times a week, a dutiful daughter. She handled the grim paperwork of death, accompanied me to the grocery store, and gently insisted I see a doctor for a checkup. "You need to take better care of yourself now that you're alone, Mom," she'd say, her smile a perfect replica of concern. I mistook it for love. Now I saw it for what it was, the strategic maneuvering of an executor. The beach house, Sea Haven, was more than wood and glass. It was the repository of our lives. Robert and I had bought the modest plot when Angela was 15, pouring our savings and sweat into building it over years of summers. It witnessed Angela's first kiss, her teenage rebellions, her wedding reception. I could still hear the echo of Robert's laughter on the porch, smell the salt and charcoal of our family barbecues. To her, it was just an asset, a quick sale. And the car. A vintage Ford F-100 pickup, forest green. Robert's Sunday ritual was to wash and polish it, treating it with a reverence most men reserve for their children. That truck was a tangible piece of him. I would sometimes sit in the driver's seat, close my eyes, and imagine his hand on the gear shift. Angela knew this. She knew, and she sold it for a pittance. Sitting on that uncomfortable green plastic chair, surrounded by the coughs and sighs of strangers, I did not cry. For the first time since Robert's death, the crushing weight of sorrow was replaced by a cool, clear certainty. A memory, long buried under grief, surfaced with the clarity of a diamond. 3 days before he died, Robert had pressed a thick manila envelope into my hands. His expression was serious, a faint wrinkle of worry between his brows. "Tony," he said, using his private name for me, "put this in your dresser drawer. Don't think about it, but if something happens to me, open it when you feel ready, not before. Blindly trusting him, as I always had, I had tucked it away. In the soul-crushing chaos following his death, I had forgotten it entirely. But it was there, waiting. The nurse called my name. The doctor's examination was a blur. He pronounced me in remarkably good health for my age, recommending more rest and a balanced diet. I nodded and smiled, a perfect picture of docile old age. But my mind was already miles away in my bedroom, focused on that drawer. I took the bus home, a new experience that Angela had unwittingly forced upon me. As I watched the cityscape drift past the window, I saw not just buildings and people, but a tapestry of hidden struggles and secret strengths. I was no longer just a grieving widow. I was a woman with a secret, and the game was afoot. The house was filled with the late afternoon light, casting long, familiar shadows that no longer seemed lonely, but conspiratory. I went straight to my bedroom, to the mahogany dresser we bought for our 20th anniversary. My hands, which had trembled for months with grief, were now steady as I opened the drawer. There it lay, the manila envelope, crisp and waiting. Sitting on the edge of the bed we had shared for decades, I felt Robert's presence more strongly than I had since his passing. I broke the seal slowly, reverently. The contents stole the breath from my lungs. It wasn't just a few documents. It was a revelation. There were property deeds, bank statements with staggering balances, stock certificates, and a letter, several pages long, in Robert's neat and familiar script. My dearest Antonia, if you are reading this, I am no longer with you, and for that I am so deeply sorry. Forgive me for keeping this from you, my love. I never wanted you to worry about money. My goal was always to give you a life of peace, not of board meetings and financial anxiety. Over the years, the modest salary I earned was not our only income. I invested, carefully, quietly. Every bonus, every bit of extra savings, I put into properties and small businesses. The beach house was our joy, but it is not our only property. We own 6 others, including the apartment building where Angela and Edward reside. We also hold significant shares in 3 companies that have done very well. You are a wealthy woman, my love. You always have been in all the ways that truly matter. Now, you are on paper too. My heart hammered against my ribs as I sifted through the documents. Deeds to a downtown condominium, a trio of townhouses in a revitalizing neighborhood, a small profitable motel on the North Coast, and indeed, the deed to Prestige Towers, the 20-story luxury building where my daughter lived in penthouse splendor. Robert had been the silent owner for a decade, operating through a corporate entity named Brooks Legacy Holdings. And I, according to every document, was the sole beneficiary. The bank statements revealed accounts I never knew existed, with balances that seemed fictitious. Robert, the humble bus driver, had been a financial savant, a quiet architect of a small empire. He had done it all for us, for our future, and he had kept it secret for one poignant reason, which he outlined in his letter. I know our Angela, my darling. Her love has always been conditional, though I prayed it would mature. If she knew the extent of our wealth, her affection would become a transaction. I wanted her to love us for who we were, not for what we could give her. The bitter irony is not lost on me as I write this. The irony was a living thing in the room. Our daughter had cast me aside, believing me to be a financial burden, when in reality, I held the deed to the very roof over her head. Sleep was impossible that night. I wandered through the house, my fingers tracing the contours of our life together, the slightly worn arm of Robert's favorite chair, the collection of seashells from Sea Haven that Angela had always deemed tacky. I paused before a gallery of family photos, my eyes lingering on one of a 5-year-old Angela, her face alight with unrestrained joy, sitting on Rogert's lap. What alchemy of life had turned that radiant little girl into the cold, calculating woman on the phone? The following morning, the phone rang again. Angela. Her voice was different, softer, layered with a saccharine concern I now recognized as manipulation. Mom, how are you holding up? I wanted to let you know we transferred the money from the house and the car. We deposited your share into your account. It should be enough to cover you for a few months while you downsize. My share? I kept my voice neutral, a gentle quaver of age masking the steel beneath.